All right, ready to dive deep into the philosophy of Bruce Lee.
Let's do it.
Today we're going beyond those incredible fight scenes
Yeah.
and getting straight to the source, Tao of Jeet Kune.
That's right.
This deep dive, though, it's not just for martial arts fanatics.
Not at all.
We're going to uncover how Bruce Lee's philosophy can help you navigate, well, any of life's challenges with a new level of, well, fluidity.
Absolutely. Jeet Kune Do, a lot of people think it's just another fighting style.
No.
But Bruce Lee saw it as much more like a way of life, really.
Yeah.
A philosophy for mastering yourself.
I love that self-mastery. Okay, so to kick things off, I want to talk about this story.
Okay.
Bruce Lee tells about a master swordsman.
Oh, yeah.
He's at a Japanese inn, and, well, 3 swordsmen show up looking for trouble.
Classic.
They're trying to goad him into a duel, talking trash, really trying to get a rise out of him.
Right.
But the master,
Yeah.
unfazed, completely unfazed.
Exactly.
So what does he do? Picks up his chopsticks. Oh, I love this part.
And with total precision, he catches 4 flies out of the air like it's nothing.
Just like that.
Okay. I have to admit, my first thought was cool party trick. But Bruce Lee, he emphasizes that, especially through that lens of Eastern philosophy, there's a much deeper meaning.
Absolutely, yeah. It's not about the act itself, it's what it shows us. That effortless fly catching, it reflects the master's inner state, complete stillness, presence, and control. In other words, total self-mastery.
So it's not about how fast your reflexes are, but the inner peace that lets you react with that kind of clarity. This is going way beyond martial arts already.
Exactly. Which brings us to a fascinating point, I think. The difference between how Western and Eastern philosophies, well, how they look at martial arts techniques.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. I think in the West, we often get caught up in the physical, the power, the skill, the aggression.
It's often about beating an opponent, but in Eastern philosophy, it's more about conquering yourself. So it's not about punching and kicking your way to victory, but using those actions to fight your own, well, inner demons.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Inner demons.
So what kind of inner demons are we talking about here?
Bruce Lee himself, he called out greed, fear, anger, and folly. He saw these as obstacles inside us that prevent us from, well, achieving true mastery, whether in martial arts or just in life.
Man, that's resonating with me already. I can't even tell you how many times I've let my own fear or frustration get in the way of making a decision. Like I'm fighting myself more than anything else.
It really is where the real battle lies, like you said. And this is where Bruce Lee's idea of knocking oneself out comes in.
Hold on, he doesn't mean like literally knocking yourself unconscious, does he?
No. It's metaphorical.
Yeah.
It's about reaching a state of mental and emotional liberation, breaking free, from those limitations of your ego, those habitual patterns of thinking and reacting.
So it's about getting to a state of inner peace and clarity, where you're not constantly fighting your own thoughts and emotions.
Precisely. And Bruce Lee felt this knocking oneself out, that liberation, it comes through rigorous training and self-reflection, of course.
Okay, but this is where I get a little stuck. We're not all martial arts masters. So how can we, as everyday people, how can we achieve this kind of self-mastery?
That's a great question, and it's one we'll definitely be unpacking in our next segment.
All right, listeners, stick with us. We're going to dive even deeper into this.
We are.
We'll look at the practical stuff, how you can start cultivating this knocking oneself out in your own life.
Definitely.
So we've been talking about this idea that Bruce Lee's philosophy is more than just fighting.
Yeah, that's right.
It's about mastering yourself, conquering those inner demons, and, as he put it, achieving this state of knocking oneself out.
Right.
But how do we actually do that, in our everyday lives? That's what I want to get into.
Well, Bruce Lee, he believed self-discipline was, well, the foundation.
The word discipline, sometimes it just makes me, I don't know, cringe a little. It feels so restrictive, like I'm being forced to do something I don't want to do.
I get that.
Yeah.
But think of it like this. Self-discipline, it's not about, punishment or deprivation. It's more like having the inner strength and focus to really align your actions with your values, with your goals. It's making conscious choices instead of just reacting impulsively.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Or getting swept away by all those distractions.
So not about being hard on yourself, but making choices that help you grow.
You got it. And that's where the connection to mastery comes in.
Right.
Bruce Lee felt that self-discipline, it helps us cultivate calmness, like a clarity of mind that helps you see things more clearly, respond more effectively to any situation.
So not about forcing yourself, but developing that inner strength and focus to be your best self even when things get rough.
You nailed it. And along with self-discipline, Bruce Lee really emphasized the importance of awareness. Being really in tune with yourself, what's around you, and how things are constantly changing.
Oh, I see. So it's not just about powering through, but being present, really paying attention to what's happening, both internally and externally.
Exactly. And this heightened awareness, this presence of mind, it lets you, well, respond more thoughtfully, not just react to whatever life throws at you.
It's about having that space
Yes,
between something happening and, well, reacting to it.
absolutely.
It's where you can choose how you want to respond.
Exactly.
This makes me think about those times when I just lose it, Like someone cuts me off on the road or I get a frustrating email and I just react without thinking, like my emotions take over. And I always end up saying or doing something I regret.
Oh, we've all been there. Bruce Lee, he actually talked about that tendency to get so stuck, in our own thoughts or reactions. He called it stickiness.
Oh, stickiness.
Yeah.
I like
He
that.
saw it as a big obstacle to achieving mastery.
Stickiness, that's perfect. It's like our minds, they fixate on a certain way of reacting or thinking, and we lose our flexibility.
Exactly, yeah. And it's in those moments, those sticky moments, that we're most likely to make a bad decision or get swept away by our emotions, right? Bruce Lee felt that the way to overcome that stickiness, it's about cultivating a fluid mind. A mind that, well, that can adapt, flow like water, adjusting to life's ever-changing circumstances.
No, I love that. A mind like water. So how do we cultivate that kind of, that mental fluidity?
Bruce Lee, he used a striking image to explain this. The image of Kuan Yin, the Buddhist goddess of mercy.
Oh, okay. Tell me more.
Kuan Yin, she's often depicted with 1,000 arms, each holding a different instrument. And Bruce Lee's point was, if Kuan Yin's mind were to get fixed on just one instrument, well, those other 999 arms, they're not going to be much use.
Ah, I see. So it's being able to shift focus effortlessly to adapt without getting stuck.
Exactly. It's about having that, well, mental agility to respond to whatever happens.
That is so relevant just about everything, whether it's work, difficult conversations, or even learning something new. That ability to adapt, to stay open seems so important.
It's a total game changer. And that brings us to another key concept from Bruce Lee. Purposelessness.
Purposelessness. That one throws me for a loop. It seems, well, I don't know, counterintuitive, right?
I know, right?
Especially for someone as driven as Bruce Lee.
It does. But it's actually a really profound idea that comes from Zen philosophy. And when you understand what he meant by purposelessness, it's really powerful.
Okay, break it down for me.
So when Bruce Lee talked about purposelessness, he wasn't saying to have a life without goals or anything. It's about a state of mind, a state of empty-mindedness, or as he called it, no art. It's where you're free from clinging to, outcomes or expectations.
So not about having no purpose, but not being attached to a specific outcome.
You got it. In Zen philosophy, they often compare the mind to water.
Oh, yeah.
It's formless, it's fluid, it adapts. But when we cling to things, the thoughts, desires, outcomes, it gets stuck.
Yeah.
And we lose that fluidity.
Like water freezing into ice. Rigid, inflexible.
The perfect analogy. But when we can cultivate this purposelessness, our minds become like flowing water again. You can respond spontaneously, effortlessly to whatever comes up.
I can see how this connects to that mind like water idea, but can you give me some examples? Like, how does it apply to our everyday lives?
Absolutely. Think about it this way.
So we're talking about purposelessness. Some real-world examples would really help me grasp this, and our listeners too, I'm sure.
Yeah, good point. It can be tough to wrap your head around. Okay, picture this.
Right.
You're at work,
Okay.
big project.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a clear goal, put in the hours,
Right.
but things just aren't going your way. Unexpected roadblocks. Maybe the client keeps changing their mind.
Ugh, the usual chaos.
Exactly, the chaos of life.
So frustrating. You're giving it your all, but it's just not happening.
Right. And if you're like super attached to a certain outcome, like, landing a big client or getting that promotion,
Yeah.
you're going to get stressed, frustrated, maybe even, well, desperate. And you might make decisions you shouldn't.
Which usually makes things worse.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if you can cultivate that sense of purposelessness,
Oh, okay.
it doesn't mean giving up on your goals. It means you detach from needing to control the outcome.
So letting go of that rigid attachment to the result.
Yeah.
And focusing on what you can control.
Yeah.
Your effort, your attitude, your approach.
Exactly. You're still going for it, striving for excellence, but you're not letting the outcome, you know, dictate your emotions.
I see. You're not letting it cloud your judgment.
Right.
I'm starting to see how powerful this could be, not just in high-pressure situations, but, well, just everyday life. Like
Yeah.
saying, hey, I'm doing my best, I'm learning, whatever the outcome, I'm okay.
Exactly. Finding that balance between striving for excellence and accepting that, well, you can't control everything.
This is really helpful. So purposelessness could actually lead to, well, greater effectiveness, maybe even more success.
It might sound counterintuitive, but it's often true. When you're not fixated on that outcome, you're more adaptable, more open to possibilities, and definitely more resilient when things get tough.
It reminds me of something else Bruce Lee said about
What's that?
transcending technique.
Oh, yes.
It's not about mastering one set of skills, but about that inner strength
Yeah.
and fluidity, that lets you adapt to anything.
You're right. That's a brilliant connection.
Yeah.
And it takes us back to Bruce Lee's core philosophy, self-mastery.
Right.
It's not about reaching the finish line. It's the ongoing journey of, well, refining yourself, mind, body, and spirit.
So not about becoming perfect, but always striving to be a bit better than yesterday.
Exactly. And that journey of self-mastery, Bruce Lee shows us, it's filled with challenges and rewards. It's pushing your limits, finding hidden strengths, and learning to, well, navigate life with grace, fluidity, and self-belief.
Man, this has been an amazing deep dive. We've only scratched the surface of Bruce Lee's wisdom, but I'm walking away with so much.
Me too. His philosophy, it's incredible how relevant it still is.
For our listeners who are feeling inspired to cultivate a little Bruce Lee in their own lives, what's one piece of advice we can leave them with?
I think Bruce Lee said it best. Be like water making its way through cracks. Do not be assertive, but adjust to the object, and you shall find a way around or through it. If nothing within you stays rigid, outward circumstances will disclose themselves.
Powerful. So to our listeners, as you go about your day, your week, remember that. Be like water. Be adaptable. Be open to possibilities. And, never stop cultivating that inner strength and fluidity. You might surprise yourself with what you're capable of.
That's the beauty of it. The journey never ends.
Huge thank you to our expert for taking us on this deep dive into Bruce Lee's world.
It was my pleasure.
And to our listeners, thanks for joining us on the deep dive. Keep exploring, keep growing, and keep striving for mastery.